I first got involved in this idea of documenting things when I had regular visits with my dad after my mother had passed away. And each time I came down, we'd spend time, because I was going to be his executor, going over things that I needed to know: where the safety deposit keys were, the location of his insurance policies, and documenting where his assets were held, who his attorney was, and on and on. Over many, many months, we had exhausted the subject of where things were, and we began to talk about other topics that I needed to know about. Who did he want to speak? I knew his friends, but the two names he came up with were new to me. One knew a lot about his civic involvement, all the organizations on whose boards he had sat, all the things he did that make any community better with people like him. And the other gentleman was of his church, where my father had been very involved, and he could speak about all the things my dad had done for his church. Each one of us only knows a piece of another's life. You want to put the whole picture together. I was able to get home in his last day, and we were with him in his bedroom when he passed away. And my first thought was, now what? What do I do? I knew he had had all these meetings, but it just had left my mind. I couldn't think what to do. And then suddenly I said, wait, I have a list. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. And my relief was tangible. I brought out the list. My siblings knew that Dad and I had discussed this. These were his wishes, and we all went to work in helping to execute on that list of what he wanted done. There were no arguments, no disagreements. We all knew this was what Dad wanted. After Dad passed away, my siblings asked if I would take that list and put it into something that they could work with, because we all realized that someday we were going to need that same list, and it seemed like a great one to us. So I did that, and then I started filling out the list for myself. And in the process, I developed a number of workbooks that would help with various aspects. After about 3 years, my sister was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. And she knew I had these lists, and I sent them to her. And rather than just leaving her on her own, we made it a very social sort of engagement. We would Skype with each other once a week, sometimes daily, and talk about how she was feeling. But we kept coming back to the workbooks. And between us, we completed all of those workbooks, and down to the smallest detail of her service in exactly the way she wanted it. And she knew everything was taken care of. About a year ago, a good friend of mine mentioned that he was starting conversations with his children so that this would be something they did over a period of months. And I told him I had these workbooks, and I sent them to him. And he called me up so excited, and he said, "These are just great. I've been sitting here for weeks trying to figure out where to even start from a blank piece of paper, and you've just laid it all out for me. You should share these with more people." So it is a process, but it does take some planning and thought, and that's where these workbooks from Gracious Exit can make a difference.